The Switch is home to a number of great beat-em-ups. Not only that, but the Kunio-Kun series, or River City Ransom, those type of games, they're pretty well represented on the system, especially here in Japan, with a large number of the classic titles available to purchase. Now, for late 2021, a new Kunio-Kun game has entered the fray with Kunio-Kun Sangokushi Zein Shugo. Now, at the time of this recording, the game is only available in Japan on the Switch. And you're probably wondering if this is worth picking up despite this. Well, lucky for you, that's exactly what we're here to talk about. Danny from the Famicast here. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Leave us a comment down below and we may read it out on our bi-weekly show called the Famicast. Today though, we're taking a look at Kunio-Kun Sangokushi on the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you haven't already figured it out by now, Kunio-Kun Sangokushi is a beat-em-up set in the world aesthetic of this Chinese historical fiction, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Now, Kunio-Kun, and basically here, Kunio-Kun and two of his buddies are taking the role of three main characters from the story, and, honestly, I don't really know or really remember much about the story, but I did watch John Woo's Red Cliff, Part 1 and 2, which is like an adaptation of the story. And I'd say if you're interested at all in that, I recommend checking that out, and be sure to watch the two-part international version rather than the bastardized truncated version that originally released in North American theaters back in 2009 or so. At any rate, the entire game here is based around this ancient Chinese aesthetic and looks and feels pretty good. Now, gameplay here is pretty much what you'd expect from a Kunio-Kun beat-em-up type of game. I mean, you can punch, kick, pick up and throw weapons and items at enemies, all that type of stuff. I think anyone that's played any of these games in the past will feel right at home here. Now, there are two main modes in the game, a story mode and a more traditional arcade mode billed as Omake mode, or like a bonus mode. Now, to touch on the latter here briefly, the bonus mode, this mode allows you and other players to play up to, I believe it's 10 levels. Basically, you're fighting numerous baddies and you get to boss fights and stuff like that. Now, while I think this is a pretty fun mode, I think the main draw in Kunio-Kun Sangokushi is definitely the story mode. Now, with the story mode, you play as Kunio-Kun, who teams up with two of his friends with the task to help people and basically bring general order to the region. Now, there's a pretty large overworld map that you traverse with multiple paths and mission objectives. Red checks on the map indicate missions that will help progress the story, while blue ones are kind of like side missions and stuff like that. And if you're actually ever confused about where to go next for the mission, the upper right-hand corner on the screen gives you a hint of what to do next, of course in Japanese. Now, of course, everything here, again, is in Japanese. Not only that, but with the story being originally Chinese, even if you understand Japanese, some of the names might be a little lost on you here. Now, there is quite a bit of dialogue to go through here as well, but I honestly think that you can still find some fun here in this mode without knowing really what's going on. I mean, it would obviously help to be able to read what's on screen, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. Now, the story mode also features a leveling system, shops, and abilities that can be assigned and used in battle. Now, the leveling system here is pretty important. Now, upon first starting out, you'll notice that your attacks are fairly weak. Now, after some light grinding, you can gain levels and, in turn, gain points that can be assigned to various attributes, such as your punches, kick power, weapon abilities, and more. Now, it's super important to play around with these, as these will give you the best opportunity to progress more easily in the game. Now, moreover, visiting shops are not only important for picking up temporary boosts or health items, but also for picking up special abilities and gear that will help you out along the way. Now, kind of like what I mentioned before, the map here is pretty expansive, and there are a lot of different locations to visit. Now, the game is also divided up into multiple chapters that are kind of sectioned off based on your level. Now, on top of that, there are multiple difficulty levels here too, so depending on how into the game you get, you can easily sink a lot of time into the game here. Now, local and online multiplayer options are present in Kunio-Kun Sangokushi. Now, this is available for both the story mode and bonus mode. Now, oddly enough, at the time of this video, online is not available in the bonus mode. It's only available in the story mode, where you can play with one other friend or a random person online. Now, I've tried to both connect to existing rooms and even host my own room to play with randoms, but nobody else must have been playing at the time. So I think if you're looking to play this game online with randoms, please keep that in mind. I mean, if you have a friend who also picks this up, either locally or online, I mean, I think you'll be in luck to be able to play that way. Now visually, Kunio-Kun Sangokushi, it's a real treat. I mean, the game is a mix of these old school 2D sprites for the characters in these modern 3D environments. Things actually look quite nice, from open fields, forests, bustling towns, seaside villages, farms, and more. The sound is also a plus in the overall package, as the game is filled with catchy tunes and sounds that harken back to Kunio-Kun games from the past, albeit with this kind of ancient Chinese theme. Now, while the visuals and audio are very good a vast majority of the time, there are some instances of occasional slowdown. I mean, it's really hard to replicate this too, though, so your mileage may vary on that front. Additionally, the gameplay is also a very strong point of the game. However, there are some portions in the game in story mode that require you to perform some precision platforming. I mean, it's doable, but it can sometimes be difficult to judge depth or distances to make accurate jumps. I also kind of ran into a couple of other weird things, like when I was playing the game, when I first started out, like a guy picked me up and I couldn't get down, and I don't know what happened there. So, I mean, there are some bugs here, so just keep that in mind. Kunio-Kun Sangokushi is a pretty solid game. I mean, there's definitely a lot of Japanese to wade through in this one, especially in the story mode. Now, even with that said, you could probably have a decent time with the game without knowing what's being said and just enjoy the leveling system, gaining abilities, and having fun with the general gameplay. Now, multiplayer is an option here too, but I feel like the main reason that this game exists is basically as an avenue to put people through the story mode. So if you're a fan of River City Ransom, Kunio-Kun, and the like, this is definitely a game that you should at least consider picking up. But let's go ahead and turn things over to you guys. Did you pick up Kunio-Kun Sangokushi? What do you think about the visuals and modes on offer here? Be sure to sign up in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Now, as always, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you like what you see, please feel free to drop this video a like. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. We've got tons of podcast video reviews, looks at Japan-only games like this, and a whole lot more. Also, be sure to check the description box below. You can get a link to the written version of this article, and also I'll link up a place where you can actually purchase this via the Nintendo Online Store, basically the eShop, a web version of the eShop, so check that out. Anyways, again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you later.